In the mid-1960s, the interstate highway system was crisscrossing the United States and enabling Americans to drive their cars faster and further than ever before. But this system created some messes too, both politically and literally. As America's highway system expanded, roadways became littered with billboards, junkyards, and overgrown invasive plants. Lady Bird Johnson saw this as a reflection of national abandonment, not just of roadsides, but as a loss of respect for our land. So she decided to do something about it. Lady Bird Johnson was born Claudia Alta Taylor. She became a Johnson when she married future President Lyndon Baines. She had a love for nature that was lifelong. During her childhood in East Texas, she grew up surrounded by towering pine trees, blooming dogwoods, and the shimmering waters of Cato Lake. She lost her mother at a young age, and she found comfort in the natural world that surrounded her. She would later say, "Where flowers bloom, so does hope." She brought this quiet optimism and dedication to natural beauty with her when her husband found himself in the White House following the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Both of their lives changed rapidly following the president's death. But even with the demands of political life, she never lost her love for the outdoors, and she used that love as a foundation for her life of public service. When she got the chance to make a difference, Lady Bird lobbied Congress to pass the Highway Beautification Act. She pictured clean roadsides, blooming with native wildflowers and scenic views unspoiled by ads. She wanted communities to take pride in their appearance, and with her determination, she persuaded Congress to pass landmark legislation to that end. The law was even nicknamed Lady Bird's Bill. She launched community-based beautification projects across the country. Schools and neighborhoods took part in the effort, and her work was part of the early spark for an environmental revival in the United States, one that would later lead to the first Earth Day in 1970. For Lady Bird, her work was not merely about cosmetic improvement, but as a central feature of civic life.
After the presidential elections in 1964, Mrs. Lyndon Johnson felt that to be most effective as the nation's First Lady, she would concentrate her efforts in a few major areas of concern. During a meeting at the LBJ Ranch, Mrs. Johnson was urged by Secretary of the Interior Stuart Udall to share her lifelong interest in one of these areas: conservation and beautification. Putting this interest into practice would require organization and hard work. Mrs. Johnson wanted to make her adopted hometown an example for others to follow. Washington, D.C. would be a showcase for the nation. And so, the Committee for a More Beautiful Capital was born.
Beautification, to my mind, is far more than a matter of cosmetics. To me, it describes the whole effort to bring the natural world and the man-made world into harmony, to bring order, usefulness, delight to our whole environment.
The environment is where we all meet, and it touches every part of our lives. Johnson stood by the idea that when you plant a seed, you beautify a nation. She wanted to encourage responsibility in the nation's leadership and in the lives of everyday citizens as a virtue for public good. Her diligence made a real impact, and she proved that transforming society really can start with the smallest seed. Lady Bird Johnson's work reminds us that we can't measure progress simply in laws passed or cities built. Every flower we see, every tree with strong roots, and every thriving community has to start somewhere, often from the smallest seeds. We need to look at how we honor the land that sustains us. Even a single seed when planted with care, has the power to make our country more beautiful for the next generation to nurture and appreciate.